So for these guys, a radical expression has to do with this radical sign. So this is a square root sign. So if we see this sign, it kind of looks like a division sign with this extra little fancy foot on it. Sometimes it's got this little foot on it. Sometimes it's just like that. I've kind of seen it both ways. Usually the foot doesn't go down quite so far. It kind of goes like that. I did mine a little too dramatic. If we don't see a number here, we assume it's a 2. So it's automatically a 2. If it's going to be any other root, then the number will be there. And what this number means is when I look at a number and say there was a 4 under here, what I want to know is what two numbers multiply to get 4, and they have to be the same two numbers because it's a square root. And when I take a square of a number, I'm multiplying the same two numbers. That's what square means. So a square root means I want to know what two numbers that are the same multiply to get this number. So if I broke this down, it would be 2 and 2, and I can see that over here in I have the squares kind of written out, and I suggest you do this on your paper. I know I had students do this on their paper in math class when we did it together. It's very convenient to have a list off to the side just to reference very quickly. So the square root of 4 is 2. So the answer to this guy would simply be 2. I'm taking the square root, I'm going back, I'm unsquaring it. Okay, so it's kind of like the division of squaring. So when we take these ones, sometimes they don't have a specific square root. So 54, I don't see 54 in this list. The closest I get is here, somewhere between 49 and 64. They do not want us to estimate. It does not say estimate the square root or round to the nearest tenth or anything like that. So they don't want you to do any estimating. They want you to take out what you can and leave behind what you can't. So in this case, I want to say 54, and I want to figure out what can I divide 54 by in this list. And I know I can divide 54 by 9 and by 6. And 9 has a square root. So 9 will turn into 3. The square root of 9 is 3. 6 does not have a square root, so 6 is going to get left behind. So I'm going to have 3 square root 6. So that's just the basic idea there. I'm looking for what can I take the square root of, and then something will get left behind. Not always, but usually something gets left behind, especially when we have these odd numbers, because then it's not in the list here. So if it's not in the list, and that doesn't mean, you know, if I stop the list at 12, I can keep going. But if I skip over it in the list, that means that it doesn't have an integer square root. It's going to be a decimal. So we leave that square root sign there.